Please welcome to the stage Jed Ayers from IGEL, CEO.
This is truly historic and unprecedented. A German software company that may have been unknown to most people, suddenly on a stage with two of the biggest brands in the world, Microsoft and Coca-Cola.
If someone would have told me 25 years ago this will happen sooner or later, would have them not with my company. I don't believe in it. Believe is a good tag, yeah. Believe it. Make the impossible possible. Lucky situation happens in your life a couple of times. Some recognize it, other ones don't take it. I hate missing opportunities. This is always my spirit. You have to work hard for it. You have to believe and to be focused on your job and success. So this was the beginning of our idea about IGEL.
Bremen is this beautiful riverside city that's a historic trading city for 1,000 years. Very special place, and obviously the history for IGEL and Melchers is deep there. Melchers is one of the most well-known families in the entire region.
I started the IGEL business in our Melchers group.
We used to be a merchant, a shipping company basically. Melchers has been active in China business, in Asia business since 215 years or so. We have always been bridging Europe and Asia. Nowadays, we have to have a lot of modern services, marketing services, packaging, branding, whatever. In 1999, I was director of Melchers Hong Kong Limited, and Heiko came to Hong Kong and advised me about some ideas which he had in network components.
I built a business plan, and then I recognized another thing. Okay, business plan is one thing. Where comes the money from? So I watched in my wallet, there was nothing. I thought, okay, I should talk with the Melchers. I told them, hey, have a look. Here's a business opportunity. I believe in it. I personally believe in it.
IGEL was always Heiko's idea, not mine. So he was the driving brain and force behind it, but he needed support and the backing, and so it developed.
In the beginning, my business was so unimportant that they dropped me always on the highest floor in the corner where the attic was. I started with 2 people, right? We were happy to get a table and some chairs, and if there was a window, we were lucky.
When everyone thinks about Silicon Valley, they think about the birthplace of tech, and they hear these great origin stories of garages where, billion-dollar companies sprang from. Well, for IGEL, Heiko started in Bremen in this small roof attic, all rooted in sort of this humble, authentic kind of work ethic. Like, we don't need a lavish, palatial office. We're here to do something really special, and we're on a mission.
When we started IGEL, we have to set up everything our own. There was no computer, no carpet.
It was in a small office, and in the beginning we didn't have furniture. It was empty.
We had only one big room.
There were no curtains in front of the windows, no chairs, no desks.
We had some small tables there, which we brought from our homes.
We had a small kitchen where we could meet, and nothing more. And a toilet, of course.
We have to do everything new in this office, but we love these offices.
I think developers are not so, don't need much. They need a computer and nothing more.
Also die Augsburger waren auch so ein eingeschworenes Team und so eine Gruppe, die einen starken Zusammenhalt auch hatte und aber auch das Vertrauen zu Melchers da war. Ja, es ist eine Chance da und wir können das gemeinsam schaffen.
We were 4 developers, and we tried to bring this thin client idea forward. And Heiko had the idea of not selling software, which we did before, but selling these hardware devices, thin clients. He said, I see a lot of opportunities in this market.
When IGEL's formed in 2001, they have 5 employees. They're in 2 cities, in Augsburg and in Bremen, but they're sitting on this outrageously valuable piece of IP, a secure, light, highly manageable operating system.
So most people don't realize when they're working on a computer, the work is actually usually happening somewhere else, in a cloud or in a data center somewhere. And so what IGEL is that underlying system. It's the software that allows that work to happen in another place.
IGEL's technology, right from the very first day, has always been rock solid. It's never let you down. And I think when you're in front of a customer, if you've got that inset belief about what your product does, it comes across to the customer. That confidence comes across. That's always been the same. It's rock solid. It doesn't let you down.
In the beginning of 2000, we saw that the customer liked the software, and then we sold more and more devices, and we listened to our customers, and they told us what they want. And in that way, we improved our software very, very much and very, very fast.
I will always remember in the early 2000s when Heiko called me and said, Dirk, we have a problem. And I said, okay. What happened? And he said, we got an order. And I said, okay, what this is not a problem. 400 units. And I said, oh, that's a challenge. And at those days, it was really a challenge. But at the end, we did it. For me, it's fantastic to realize what this company is capable to do.
It was in 2004 that they said in 5 years, we want to be #1. And of course, at this time, they're up against very large companies like Compaq, HP, Dell. And amazingly to themselves, I think even, they were able to achieve that 2 years later.
At this 2006, IGEL has already now around 40 people. And I can remember because we got the market leader in Germany at this year. And I thought, how could it be possible?
1, technology was very, very sound. 2, it comes down to sort of the density of human beings that they had on the ground in Germany. Doing everything in sort of native German tongue, that's something that was very unique to IGEL and unique to Heiko.
In 2006, as we got these leadership in Germany, it was clear for me that's not enough. We have to go international. I have to leave my comfort zone in Germany. We need to get access to the network of Silicon Valley. We cannot be excluded.
But in America, it's a total different. I think they started in a virgin market. There was no brand awareness about IGEL.
You know, here's a small German company, and they're moving into a market that they really don't understand. It's an English-speaking country. It's a market where urgencies are different. The levers that drive business, the decisions that are being made are totally different than what they're used to.
When you're talking about selling to Americans, you have to think like Americans think. No matter how wonderful a product is, if you don't understand the culture to which you're selling, you're not going to be able to sell it.
IGEL, attempted to come to the U.S. At least twice, depending on how you're counting it, and was met with pretty mixed results.
I think we always took a lot of risk, but never that magnitude of risk which endanger the total company.
I think as a European company or a German company, I did roughly every single mistake you can do in your life to fail in the US. Yeah, I did it. I have to shake up people. The opportunities are here, they are there. We can take it if we believe in it. It takes time, yes, but if we get the right people on side, it will be possible and happen.
In 2010, Heiko travels to Australia and he learned something amazing from listening to a customer, which is, hey, we want this operating system, but we don't want it on your hardware. We want to put it on all these old devices that we have. Can you make that happen?
I went back to Frank Biermann, to our developing group. I told them, we have to get our software standalone as a separated product, independent from the hardware.
There was a risk that we have an established market position with the thin client technology, with hardware, and we took the decision that we become a software company. So that was, I believe, a major risk.
There's this term in business, sometimes you have to kill your baby, right? And to make that transition from a hardware company to a software company had to be difficult. And for Heiko to lead that is very impressive.
We're talking about software-defined networking, software-defined storage. And what Heiko landed on was a software-defined operating system, which to this day, even the largest competitors in this space haven't caught up to this idea. They want to push hardware.
VDI, virtual desktop infrastructure.
An operating system that's enabling our customers to get to the cloud.
Being focused on the software was the right decision because this is a complementary product for this industry to migrate the desktop easily to this cloud structure. By 2009, we should be already 120 people around the world. I told Nicolas, we have to go back to the US. Oh no. Why do we have to do it?
I was very much against going to the west coast of the USA because I was scared of the time difference, etc. We tried in the middle, we were in Cincinnati. We tried it with staff from Germany, from South Africa, with domestic Americans, various ways we tried, and we couldn't make a real impact.
I told them, our growth story is in North America. We cannot generate enough growth here in Europe. We need to be in the US. I have to take care about my own brand and getting a strong setup of people there. 2014, we restart our business in the US with this approach being plain focused on sales and marketing.
We established a new legal entity in the US. We put a team together. We had a good sales leader in place. Business was beginning to happen. It was beginning to accelerate. And then that sales leader left with no warning at all.
Our GM is Adam Brush. He's a friend of mine. Yeah, he said, by the way, this will be the last QBR for me. I'm leaving the company end of February.
And it was a bit of a kick for me, to be honest. As we say in England, a kick in the teeth.
Simon is a smoker. We went out. I think he smoked a couple of cigarettes there, and there we decided, hey, we have to accept this, but this should not happen again. And then we decided really to look for the right person to lead our organization.
If you know Heiko and you know me, it just makes me actually want to succeed even more. The team asked me, are we going to get a new sales leader? And I said, yes, when we find the right one.
So in 2015, I have had the first call with Jet Ass, and we met in January for a dinner, which takes us more than 4 hours. And this meeting changed the entire IGEL.
When I arrived into IGEL, I was met with a healthy degree of skepticism that this would be possible. They had sent their best people over from Germany. They had sent their best people over from the UK. And they had even hired an American who had a great track record. And so there was sort of a, here we go a third time into the US.
Jed started on June 1st of 2016. And within 2 weeks, I could see that this was going to be a difference maker. And he tells me, we're going to move fast. And he says, we are going to change this messaging and we are going to hit the market and we're going to run hard and hold on.
You have this sort of staid German hardware company, and we wanted to energize the company. So we held the kickoff at a theme park that was closed for the winter. So it was this huge theater.
And all of a sudden this smoke starts coming in from the sides of the stage. And all of a sudden these lights.
The theme of the thing was, are you ready? And we got people so pumped up, and I'll never forget it. Matthias Huber, he's one of our developer team guys in Augsburg, and he's sitting in the front row. And I get up on the stage after this huge triumphant entry with all this loud music, and walls are painted with all this stuff, and I say, are you ready? And this 6'7" man jumps out of his chair, and he goes, I am ready.
We were really very loud, and everyone was saying, wow, this is impressive. That's us? Is this IGEL?
It was just an amazing experience for me after 14 years to be able to go, this little company can make this kind of noise.
With the new American team, when Jet Ayers entered the stage, you can regard this as a turning point in IGEL's history.
It was a defining moment for kind of the future energy that we would bring. The new center of the city is this Salesforce Tower. It's a 62-floor gleaming spectacle to technology and software. And if you kind of like move your gaze down to this older building that was put here in the 90s as a warehouse, we're in this cramped little windowless office in the shadow of this magnificent new building. But we're absolutely proud of it, and it's like become something that is actually energizing us and fueling us, is this sort of sense of humility and hard work. We chose this very block very carefully. You had Microsoft and Watson from IBM and Facebook and Twitter all descending on this block right here. So healthy access to great talent, great energy. Over the last 3 years, we've seen the whole area just sort of transform into what I think is the heartbeat of technology. It's right here.
In Germany, we rethink everything 3, 4, 5 times, and we forgot to make a decision at the end.
The European attitude of let's plan for failure, let's plan everything at 99.99% of every potential risk, etc. And the American attitude of it's 85% ready, we'll work out the 15% when and if it goes wrong. That completely changed the way that we view ourselves internally, and therefore how the customers view IGEL.
This sort of fail fast model that we enjoy in the US, where it's okay to fail. In fact, it's actually celebrated to fail. But as long as you can pick yourself up, learn from that failure, and come out stronger. And so Heiko's really embraced that.
Disrupt shakes people. Hey, have a look. This happens with you, without you. It doesn't matter. It will happen.
If you go back to 2010 when we started this idea of, hey, we can put this software onto old devices and we can breathe new life into them, this is the beginning of disrupt. But when you mixed it with the American marketing and really going into these large enterprises and sort of cutting off the Dell and HP sales cycle by essentially breathing life into these devices, this became extraordinarily disruptive. It saved money, it saved headcount, it improved security, improved performance, and it did it without having to buy a new piece of hardware. And this was where the word disrupt was born from.
The truth of the matter is what we've been doing for all of these years hasn't changed. Our focus is we make a well-curated operating system that's easily manageable and scalable. For me, the reason that we're out-competing HP and Dell is because we're actually paying attention. This is what we do. This is what we put our heart and soul in.
In 2018, IGEL was able to cross the $100 million revenue threshold. This is an amazing accomplishment for a software company, especially one that has been around for 25 years. Well, IGEL always thought about having an operating system for the network or for the internet, and this was way ahead of its time. But IGEL hasn't been able to capitalize on that because the market really wasn't ready. And so right now we're catching this wave that is allowing us to have this amazing growth.
You know, we did 100 million. You know, that's a badge of honor, right? That's where it with pride. We're a $100 million company. Wow.
We're going to sell 750,000 licenses this year. I mean, that's 20-fold, and that growth is astronomical. So to have experienced that company that was originally 20 people, to come up to where we were 150 people, to where we're over 400 people now, and continuing to grow at such a rapid pace, it's shocking to me.
In 2019, we are really close to be 400 people in the entire group. We have so many people. I mean, I have people who did their apprenticeship in my department and still working for me, for the company, and joining the success, and are happy and loving these companies.
The thing that I think made IGEL special from the very beginning was they listened to their customers, they listened to their partners, and they innovated and they iterated on a sound idea of an open-sourced, managed platform.
In the beginning of the company's success, I did a lot of failures because it needs to be done now, rush, emotional, bam, bam, bam. How can I change my perspective? Listen, people. Don't believe that you will do changes alone. Listen to people. They are telling you the truth. The risky thing in being an entrepreneur and driving a company is the subject tunnel view. You need to talk with people from outside to get a realistic, objective view about the company.
Heiko is an entrepreneur, a visionary. He's a great leader. He's someone that trusts people, builds great partnerships. He's a risk taker, but he's pragmatic. He's this very special blend, and honestly, I think the history will look very favorably on him as one of the few people that figured out, how to take a German software company and impact a global, workforce.
Being invited by Microsoft to support them on these way of transforming endpoints to the Azure cloud, it's a big bang. All these data centers are driving more and more to the internet, to the cloud itself. And I believe IGEL will be definitely successful because a human needs to get always a device to get the data into the cloud. And that's a point where we are specialized in it. And that's a good positioning for IGEL.